Hey, just want to talk a little bit about that NAR lawsuit that's coming up, and gonna have some big decisions made this summer. I personally am not really worried about it because I know how to communicate with buyers and sellers, and I built my business on for sell by owners and communicating with them and helping them. And as far as buyers go, I really would not be concerned if you're a buyer having to save up a lot of extra money to pay a buyer's agent, but we can talk about that later because the contracts may change as far as the buyer's rep agreement that you will be required to sign in your state with a realtor who's part of NAR. There's a difference between a realtor and a practicing real estate agent. You might want to Google that, but there's a difference. I myself am a realtor. I pay a lot of money to be part of NAR, and that's a monopoly as far as I'm concerned, but that's we can talk about that another time. Being a part of NAR, I am held at a higher standard than a typical practicing real estate agent. So it's my job to communicate and convey a certain level of integrity to consumers. I'm here to help buyers and sellers, and that's the bottom line. The commission that I am getting compensated, and by the way, that is by the listing broker. That is not necessarily coming from the seller. That's not part of the contract. And I can describe that to you in person or over the phone. But the buyer's agent commission does not come from the seller directly. It comes from the broker. Their commission is being shared with the buyer's agent as a thank you for bringing them a qualified buyer to close on. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about right now is buyers. You want to look for a realtor who knows how to communicate and decipher the contracts and go over them with you. And you're welcome to look at a blank contract. You will be possibly required to sign a buyer's rep agreement up front before viewing any property on the inside or stepping on the property. And that I think that's good because that's going to serve buyers and that's going to protect the buyer's agent. But as far as coming up with extra money to pay your buyer's agent, that used to be a thing anyways. I am used to negotiating commissions as a listing agent with my sellers, and in turn, I share my listing commission with a buyer's agent, a cooperating fee. That, in my mind, isn't any different. That's not going to be any different than what it is now, but that myself, that's just how I communicate to clients, how the commission works. I see a lot more open houses coming up. So this summer, if all that does go through, you're going to see a lot of agents having a lot of open houses because that will be a buyer's agent's way of meeting a possible buyer before that buyer's rep is signed. So it takes a lot of the pressure off to get comfortable with interviewing different agents and actually getting in to see a property, an open house. You don't have to have an agent. You can go in unrepresented and see the inside of that property. So there's going to be a lot more open houses coming up. And if you are considering getting into real estate, actually by the summer may be a really good time considering there's going to be some big changes, and real estate is always changing. It is never a boring industry. There's always new laws and regulations that we have to relearn and be familiar with. Our contracts are always changing. They update every year. So if you have any questions, give me a call. My phone number is 931-291-5810. Big, sordid subject, and that's just a little piece of the pipe.